This music just makes me feel sad.
This music does remind me of when to show that Jason Segel was to show why he would be dissatisfied with his job making music for television shows. It showed him in studio making music, and the film's Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
It's just dark tones. It almost makes me feel like, oh, we're about to find out the depths to which Mark Zuckerberg is going to betray his friend in order to make Facebook good.
Yeah.
That is that he's going to jump out of a tree.
He's going to jump out of a tree and kind of hit a ladder a little bit.
Yeah. When you're ready.
Oh, right, I do.
yeah, you do.
Welcome to the Big Match Minute. This is the show where we talk about wrestling in that special way that only we can and do. I'm Diet Coke.
And I am Lilith.
And today we're talking about minute 12 of the final deletion. But we're also talking about a flim, as they say.
Yeah, which is how we're kind of doing it right now. But not
for
permanently.
This episode and the last episode.
yeah. Because it is already stretching, testing the limits.
Sometimes when you set out to make a podcast, you get lost in the desert for a while, and we're making our own fun in the desert here with what we can find in the sands. We took our trusty Bowie knife and we cut into a cactus. And the sweet drink of water that is the 2004 film Alien vs. Predator came flowing out.
Except you cut into the cactus and oh no, the inside of the cactus is acidic and it eats through your armor.
Yeah. Rip my armor.
Yeah. The armor that we all have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just picked another Versus movie, honestly.
Yeah. Dude, this one, I don't think this one maps onto the match as smoothly as Godzilla.
No. I think there are things to map, but it's not. Do you want to talk about the minute, like, real quick?
Sure. We get some bad music and then a bad spot, and that's the minute.
Yeah. Jeff Hardy climbs up into a tree and then kind of falls out of it and kind of glances off of a ladder that Matt rolls off of at the last second. That's it. The music at the beginning is just like one synth note, and then we get the
too long. Like that can be effective in certain circumstances, but just like watching a frankly kind of slow, not very energetic wrestling match. While it's like someone let the phone off the hook, you know?
It's a cinematic wrestling match. And it is cut. Like there are time jumps in this minute, but it still feels like fucking molasses.
Do you think one of the brothers Hardy themselves edited this and that's why it's like this?
Oh, for sure. I think probably Matt, just because this kind of seemed like his baby.
Yeah, I don't want to denigrate any real editors that possibly worked on this, but it does kind of seem like this was a project to figure out iMovie, you know?
Yeah, and with it, like a GarageBand or similar.
I don't think that's fair. I think an even average skilled podcast editor could source a better free soundtrack than what we hear in some moments of this.
As an average skilled podcast editor who sources free sound projects, I'd say you're right. And I mean, admittedly, I can't safely fall out of a tree and hit my head on a ladder.
That's true. Like we say it's a bad spot. It's like he did fall out of a tree from pretty high.
Yeah.
He bent the ladder. That's something.
I don't want any of this to come across like I have enjoyed a lot of Matt and Jeff Hardy stuff.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed other parts of this match.
Yeah. I agree with both of those statements.
The have you ever we're freewheeling. This is the show.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched their like surprise comeback to the WWE?
No.
Oh my god. Okay. So it was a ladder match for like the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Ladder match, so it was like later on in their careers.
What?
It was like a ladder Hardy match, so it was later on in their
fucking
career.
idiot. Okay. It was anyway. So, but like the whole thing is like it was the Enzo and Big Cass, and then the Bar, and I think there was a third team that was already like out there. And then the New Day come out because they're like the hosts of WrestleMania, and they're like, hey, there's gonna be another team entering this old ladder match. And they're like, oh, I wonder who it is, because this was when the New Day were doing their Who thing.
Sure.
Which is really fun. I love the New Day are so
New Day
fun.
Rules.
Yeah. And then the Hardy Boys music hits, and the Hardy Boys come out and have a fucking banger of a ladder match. And they take the Raw Tag Team Gold and are proceeded. They are then squandered for the rest of their time in the WWE.
Of course.
Partially because they were like, this was, I think, maybe like a year after the final deletion, and there was some question marks as like, okay, this new like boiling lava hot broken gimmick, it was questionable as to can WWE use this.
I remember people talking about that.
Yeah, and so they kind of used watered down versions of it.
We got into this with a guest at one point. This is where he had a new entity that had granted access to his mind.
The woken Matt Hardy, which was so bad.
I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Would you read if Matt Hardy announced a novel expanding upon the lore of broken Matt Hardy?
Ooh! Here's the thing. It does need a good co-writer, because like I don't feel like
I think Matt Hardy is the credited writer, and then there's a ghost writer who actually wrote, who actually took all the lore that Matt Hardy provided and made a coherent novel out of it.
Like it was like a, like the two of them sat down with like a fucking dictaphone for like an afternoon, and lots of notes were taken, and then this competent writer went and turned it into a good book.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would inhale that. It'd make me so happy.
It'd be so good, right?
Yeah. But then we also watched Alien versus Predator.
yeah, that was the other thing we're here for today.
So and we don't have like good.
We watched Alien versus Predator so that we would have shit to talk about. And Alien versus Predator let us down.
Yeah. Because we were talking about this before we hit record. I feel like the movie is leaking out of my ears right now. I watched it 6 hours ago, and I cannot. I'm remembering fewer and fewer like things about it, because every time Alien versus Predator feels like they're starting to start up a good character dynamic, one or both of those people dies.
Yeah. And the main character who survives to the end is likable enough, but she never really gets a story going, because they just don't take time with it. All the story threads they start are the people they kill off. Yeah,
to other people. Yeah,
and then those other people's stories don't fucking pay off. It's a very frustrating film.
The only payoff that they could have had by the end of the movie, I guess not quite the end of the movie, but before the alien queen attacks, would be, of course, for her and the Predator to kiss. And they didn't do that.
Yeah, they team up, but they don't kiss.
Yeah, they should have kissed.
Yeah, it would have been great if they kissed.
There's a weird structure in the Arctic, right?
And there's a pyramid deep under. Well, we start out in media res with a man being attacked by a predator in the year 1900 whatever 4 probably. Making an
right, because that was like
in an old whaling station in Antarctica, which I didn't know was a thing. I didn't know people I didn't know there were obviously very, very small, but I didn't know there were settlements of any kind in Antarctica at that time period.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't really know that.
It just seems weird. How do you live in Antarctica without electricity? You'll get too cold.
You fucking burn whale fat.
I guess. That makes sense, I suppose.
Yeah. And then we get this, this shady businessman is
we flash forward 100 years to the present day, which is of course 2004, and then we get a montage of the shady businessman contacting essentially obvious rip-offs of characters from other action films. You get there's a kind of Jurassic Park scene with these two archaeologists who are on a dig, but they need money. You get the main lady is climbing up a mountain like Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible 2 that had just come out a couple of years before. We get there's a kind of dykey lesbian coded character who is just Switch from the Matrix. They just lived to Switch right out of the Matrix and put her in this movie, and then killed her off way too early.
Way too early.
She was so cool.
No, there was just absolutely nothing. She had 2 or 3 lines.
Immediately established.
One of them was about her first line was "Oh, why are you gonna bring a gun with you on the mission?" He's bringing a condom. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And I was like, hell yeah.
And then first individual moment she gets, boom, face hugger right on the face.
Yeah. Face hugger right on the face, and then she, at least she was the one person who was trapped in the sacrificial chamber who actually got to make a facial expression while the face hugger was coming out of them. Yeah. Everybody else just happened off screen.
Yeah.
Fuck. And then there was the fucking the tough guy with the facial scars and the kind of weenie scientist who they kind of got shuttled off into their own narrative, and they had a whole thing about oh, we're both dads, so we got to make it out of here. And then they just both eat it.
Yeah. The scar's really doing the heavy lifting of making that guy look like a tough guy, because I don't think he would have looked so tough without the scars. He looks a little bit like William Mapother, if people are familiar with that actor.
I don't believe I am.
He's Tom Cruise's cousin. So he's in a couple Tom Cruise movies, and also he was prominently featured on the show Lost, where he played Ethan, the creep who kidnaps a pregnant woman.
So this is why you know things about him.
A lot of people know him from Lost. Ethan was a major character.
Yes! A lot of people who saw Lost.
All right, I'm sorry. What else would people know William Mapother from?
They wouldn't!
They might know him as Tom Cruise's cousin who's in a couple of his movies.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Because if you kind of squint, you can see it. You can see the Tom Cruise in there.
The only character dynamic that I actually got around to really caring about, it takes 80% of the movie to get to, which is the one that I already talked about, which is the main lady and the Predator.
Yeah.
They were a fun team.
They were a fun team once they got together.
Yes, once they got together. And it took most of the movie to get there.
Well, it's a friggin' predator, Lily. You're not going to become friends with it right away.
Here's the thing. Lilith, if I see a predator, if I can figure out a way to make friends with him,
I mean, yeah,
I'm gonna do it.
That's the trick, ain't it?
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Lance Henriksen in this film?
Which one was he?
Lance Henriksen is a beloved genre actor. People will know who that is.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar.
Critically, he played the android Bishop in Aliens.
Okay.
And in this film, he plays like Jonathan Bishop Wayland. So he's like a guy who works for the Wayland company. I don't know if it's Weyland-Yutani in the timeline of Alien versus Predator yet. But this is deep alien lore, I guess, maybe, except this movie's in canon. So, and there's also like a moment where he kind of, for just like half a second, does the thing with the knife in the hands that he does in Aliens.
Right.
The implication of which, I guess, is that like the android was based on this guy.
The implication is we all know you saw that movie.
I mean, yeah.
We're doing this again.
Because Lance Henriksen is an actor that a lot of people like, who will also appear in any movie that pays. That's his whole thing.
Yes.
That's how they got him in Hellraiser 8.
Alien versus Predator dropped the ball in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest one is giving us a thing to talk about in this podcast.
Yeah. All right, well, all right, we got to do this. Which one is Jeff and which one's Matt? I have a feeling.
Okay.
I believe that Jeff is the Predator and Matt is the alien, because Jeff and the Predator can be reasoned with, but Matt and the alien cannot.
That is a very coherent point, especially when you consider the final twist of the movie, which is the Predalien. Because we see this main predator get hit by a face hugger about 60-70% of the way through the movie, and then the predator is felled in battle, and is given an honorable brought back to the predator ship, and yada yada yada, blah blah blah. And then at the very end of the movie, a chest burster comes out, and it's got like an alien predator face, which apparently like that's the big thing in AVPR.
Which have either of us seen?
No.
Okay. Good.
I read is because we talked about we were after the Godzilla versus Kong discussion went well, we were like, let's just fucking do Alien versus Predator, because I didn't feel like watching Freddy versus Jason.
Freddy versus Jason, a far superior film to Alien versus Predator, I would say. Freddy versus Jason is really fucking fun and good.
But I'm scared.
I guess it's too late for this now, but I don't think Freddy versus Jason is significantly more scary than Alien versus Predator.
Damn. All right.
There's more titties in it. It's really the
fuck. We fucked up.
Yeah,
I fucked up. But we discussed like we'll watch an Alien versus Predator. So you said, okay, well, I heard the second one was like the shitty one.
Well, so I specifically heard that there was like a gross exploitative rape scene in the second one.
I mean, okay, I went and read the Wikipedia entry for the plot of the second one. And the entire thing, like, the crux of the plot is that, like, the Predalien is using, like, human women as, like, birthing pods, and not in, like, the fun chest burster way.
Yeah. Not in the way that, like, has precedence in the, in the franchise.
Which, I mean, let's be real. The entire, like, premise of the xenomorph is...
I mean, yeah, there's a reason, like, there are 5 different things that look like a vagina in the life cycle of a xenomorph.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, there are 5 different things that look like a vagina in the life cycle of a xenomorph, and then it also there's some kind of phallic things going
Yeah.
on with the way the face hugger. I mean, the fucking thing face fucks you and impregnates you with a xenomorph.
It's
Like,
true.
it's gnarly.
Yeah. It does. Yeah, but it does feel just like
The,
it's. I don't know. It feels
there's
better.
the
The
you
alien
know
movie.
the drill post where it's like, the like turning up a dial that says racism and looking it back at the audience. Like, this is turning up a dial that says like sexual horror and looking back at the audience to see what they approve of.
And
But
it
it
truly is
just
like they turned
went
it up. They turned it up. Alien 3, they went too far. They turned it down, and they started turning it back up again.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why we chose this fucking dog shit movie. I love Predators. Can I just say that? Not, I mean, Predators, I think is all right. But I mean, Predators, like, conceptually, I just love them.
Conceptually, they're very good. I will say, I did rewatch Predator and Predator 2 before this.
Mm-hmm.
Not for the podcast necessarily, just because I'd been meaning to watch to do a Predator rewatch of the whole series. And
I've seen one in the last year.
I don't know. One is like I don't know. I don't think any of them hold up as good as to compare them to any of the Alien movies. Frankly,
Okay,
I
well, that's. Mm, I feel like the Alien versus Predator kind of concept places two fundamentally different film
true.
franchises on like a battlefield that they really don't belong
That's fair, but
on against each other.
I think not just compared to Alien, but compared to other movies. Like I don't think either have aged either Predator 1 or Predator 2 have aged particularly well. I don't know. It's like you've got Shane Black making all these weird pussy jokes that like aren't. I don't know. Did you find him charming?
No, I didn't
I
find
found the
him
big guy who wasn't
charming.
laughing at him was charming, but
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is that's the audience surrogate. I don't think we're supposed to find Shane Black charming.
no, I think at the time Shane Black was the audience surrogate.
I really don't think that's the case.
I don't
Also,
know.
if you're gonna fucking start shitting on people for making pussy jokes, I would like to direct you to the first season of this podcast.
to even like 30 seconds ago on this podcast. Yeah, but listen, there's a good and fun way to make pussy jokes.
And you don't do it. How dare you?
I don't know. The movie Predator makes me uncomfortable, and then Predator 2 is. When was the last time you watched that one?
Predator 2, it's probably been like since college.
My big problem with Predator 2 is there was a very prominent, and even to this day, still this problem exists, I would say, but especially in the 90s, and especially surrounding the city of Los Angeles, there was this very prominent racist bit of fear mongering, where it was very common to be like, "Oh, very soon, within the next 2 or 3 years," because Predator 2 is set a couple years in the future.
Right.
The Los Angeles will be taken over by violent street
Yeah.
gangs, and only brave policemen operating with the best weapons they have have any chance of protecting us from these hordes of not white people attacking the city. Predator 2, I think, very, very much falls into that trope. And I don't know, it sucks.
No, yeah. Again, it's been a while for me with Predator 2, so I can't really speak to it, but that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the trope.
Yeah.
It is well trod. I mean, it's the post Rodney King
Yeah.
racial anxieties of white America, dealt with in an incredibly like just not thoughtful way.
Yeah.
Reactionary and racist way. That sucks.
I don't know. I feel like the Predator franchise to some extent has been marred by that kind of point of view. Even the first one is just I feel like we are at least meant to like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl
Yes.
Weathers, and
Uh-huh.
they're both like horrible. Like they're just like it's very much like you don't like, you're not. I don't know. I don't know how to articulate it. It's a very 80s mindset where they're like there's these two guys who are listening to like swinging 50s rock and roll on the plane in,
Mhm.
and like enforcers of American imperialism in a really unthinking way. Where like the way they get to the jungle is that the government just says, "Hey, we need you to kill these people, no questions asked," and they're just like, "Yeah."
I would challenge that
Do you think it's
reading.
more critical of those types of people? I went back
I
and forth throughout the film. I'll be honest.
I think that it is because I think that it is specifically like I think that we are supposed to kind of view the way that this like special forces team is just like ducking into this. Yeah, I don't even remember what country it is supposed
I
to
believe
be
it's
in.
supposed to be Colombia.
Colombia, yeah, and they're just coming in, fucking shit up for whatever fucking reason it is. I think we're supposed to view that as a mirror to the way that the Predator treats Earth, and I think that that is actually like,
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think I don't know. I think the movie also makes a big point of drawing a line between characters like the Jesse Ventura character and the Arnold Schwarzenegger character that I think
mhm,
is kind of you know
that we are still supposed to like take a
yeah,
step back and be like, well, the Arnold Schwarzenegger character is the good one.
yeah,
Obviously, the
yeah.
Jesse Ventura character is like a step too far. Absolutely. Um,
Yeah, the first one I struggle with the first one. I like
mhm.
parts of it. I don't like other parts of it. I think overall it's kind of uneven and it doesn't hold up as well as some other films of the era.
I
But that being said, I think the Predator is an extremely fucking cool concept and design.
yeah, yeah. I need to go back to Predators. Because
Yeah, I should go
it
back to
has
that one too.
problems, but like I remember being like, there are so many things to like about it
Yeah,
that I'm not, completely
that is also how I felt about
off
Predators.
board
I
on it.
also
Yeah,
haven't seen it in a long time.
yeah. How do we end these things now?
Oh God, you're supposed to do the thing. You're supposed to, in a more elaborate way, ask how we end these things.
Well, but don't we? Don't, oh, yeah. Well, the thing is that we changed it up because now it used to be that we make a stupid, awkward segue into plugs, and now we don't even fucking do that anymore.
Yeah.
Jesus. Um, you ever been in your car? Maybe this was like I feel like I had some experiences like this in college where like you've got maybe $10 in your bank account and you think you have enough gas to get home, and when you get home maybe your parents are there and you can maybe hit them up for like a 10 spot to help you limp along
Yeah.
another day, but you're not sure about any of that, and you're just riding that 94 Saturn, 96 Saturn. What was my first car anyway? I don't know. You just kind of not sure how far this car is. You're not gonna be riding it a whole lot longer, but you're
But
not even
you
sure it's
don't
gonna
even know if
get
that next
you
bit of gas is gonna come through
that
for you.
that next tiny little bit that might get you to class tomorrow. You don't even know if that's there. You ever been there?
I mean, you've painted me into a corner because the bit is that I say no, but I think I overwhelmingly give off the vibes of a person who has been there.
This this wasn't the outro bit. I was just kind of starting a conversation about I don't know how
been
I
there.
feel.
What I would normally do in that situation is I would stop on the way home and I would put $5 of gas in my car, something
Yeah.
I have done on many occasions.
Yeah. I would keep just like $3 in the glove compartment.
Yeah.
Just for that exact situation,
to
like
quote-
3 physical dollars.
Yeah. To quote the Sorry to Bother You trailer and finish
Fucking
film,
yes.
40 on one, and you plop down a quarter, a dime, and a nickel.
Uh-huh. Diet Coke, do you want to say like a snappy ending thing for the end of the podcast? All right.